Good morning. If you thought that was forced fun, you do not know what is coming next. Get ready. So I'm going to be talking to you today a little bit about how you can use this incredible tool in your pocket to make more money. Now, last time I did this talk, I left it in my pocket when I said it, and I was like, you can use this incredible tool. So I'm glad this time I've remembered to take it out and show you what I'm talking about. Otherwise, people start harassing me in the bar. Guys, can I see the next slide, please, on the screen? So, before we get started, I want to do a little bit of an experiment with you. Who's up for a little bit of a WhatsApp experiment? 3 of you? Guys, who's up for a WhatsApp experiment? Hey, that's much better. Okay, take your phones out. Open up your camera. And I want you to scan the QR code on the screen for me, please. That's going to open up your WhatsApp. I want you to send me the word expert. It's like I've done it before, isn't it? This is going to show you basically what the whole talk is about. So if you're not in this, you're going to miss out later on when I actually start talking about how WhatsApp, there we go. I always know when it's working because I start getting the little ripples of laughter through the room. So if you didn't scan it, you are missing out. Okay, that was the first part of the experiment. The second part, people always say to me, why is WhatsApp such an amazing tool? Why is WhatsApp the tool that we should be using in business? And instead of telling you, I'm going to show you. So, open up your camera for me. And I want you to take a selfie. Now, bonus points if you can take one with someone else in the room. So, you heard Nick say at the beginning, the more you connect, the more you collect. Let's connect. Let's connect with some random people. I'm coming for a walk as well. I want to see if you can get me in some of them. Still can't see it. Hi. We taking them? Everyone taking selfies? Hi. Nice. Got selfies? Everyone taking selfies? Got selfies? Hi. Yeah, everyone got one? Not yet. Hold on. Has everyone taken a selfie? Okay. Now, I want you to open up your WhatsApp. Can I see the next slide? No. Okay. Okay. I want you to open up your WhatsApp. Oh, I'm losing my microphone. It's all happening today, isn't it? I want you to open up your WhatsApp. I want you to send that image to somebody. Anybody. Not me. Don't send it to me. Send it to somebody. So if you've already sent it to me, send it to someone else. And then what I want you to do is I want you to just raise your hand once you get a response to that WhatsApp message. Now, the number one response we always get when we get clients to do this is, was that meant for me? How many of you have ever had a client or a potential client that's ghosted you? You've tried to follow up with them and they just don't respond. How many of you have ever had that? Send them a selfie. And then when they message you and say, was that meant for me? Say, yes, and so was the one I sent you before. You watch how fast people respond to you. So, let's talk about selling in 2026 and why I believe WhatsApp is going to be your best tool. I think there's going to be one main key to selling in 2026, and that is conversations. How many of you believe if you could have more conversations today, you'd do more business? That's not many of you. The more conversations you have, the more business you are going to do. And people always keep saying to me, but how do I know what a good conversation is? And how do I know what a bad conversation is? Well, I'm not going to tell you about the good conversations, but I thought we could play a little bit of a game, if you're up for it. We're going to talk about the shitty behavior that we see online. How many of you are up for playing a game that I like to call shitty behavior pantomime? Should we play it? Amazing. So what I want you to do, I'm going to show you some genuine DMs that I've been receiving recently. I want you to give me a massive cheer if you think it's a good DM. I want you to boo it if it's a bad DM. Are we ready to play? Oh, no, you're not. That is my favorite joke of the whole talk. Okay. Here's the first one. Would you like to check out my free community on Skool? Would I fuck? I should have replied with that, shouldn't I? How many of you get these kind of DMs every single day? What about this one? God, those emojis. How about this one? I've just released a free guide called the 7-Day Fat Loss Meal Plan for Men. Do you think they looked at my profile picture before they sent me that one? I just think it was just the mass. Hey, I came back from holiday over the summer, and honestly, hands down, I had a DM from somebody that said, loved the holiday pictures. If you want to shed those last few pounds once you're back, I think I can help you. What a knob. Okay, are we ready? I really want to hear you now, okay? You're quite a quiet audience this year, so I really want to hear this one. Massive cheer if this is a good DM. Huge, huge boos if this is a bad one. Guys, Nick's like, come back to Expert Empires, they're a really nice crowd. Nick, have you ever been booed off the stage? It could happen. I sent this DM in 2020 when I very first set up this business. Not only did I send it, I sent this to 1,000 people on LinkedIn because I was told that's how we do business. We do business by sending these kind of messages to people. Guess how many responses I got to this DM? None. No responses at all. Should have been booed, shouldn't I? So this sparked something in me, my very first conversation, that made me realize just how powerful conversations can be in business when we really kind of knuckle down and we do this properly. So up until 2020, this was my office. I'm a qualified commercial airline pilot. I was flying for 12 years. In March 2020, remember that month? That really insignificant month in all of our lives. I lost my job. The airline I was flying for entered administration. My world collapsed overnight. I wasn't furloughed because the airline entered administration. I wasn't entitled to a pension because I used to be a pilot and they thought I had a really good salary. And I just moved into a brand new house. So I was stuck. Had to think of what I could do. So I had this amazing idea. And it's a really innovative idea because nobody else had this idea in 2020. And that was that I was going to set up a well-being business. I'm quite an original person. So I thought, all I need is one client, right? I just need to have one conversation. I need to open one door. And that could spark a lot of other things. So that's where the DMs came in. I took all the DMs. I sent them all out. I sent them to key decision makers in the NHS that I found on LinkedIn. And obviously, they were far too busy to be replying to me on LinkedIn. So I had to change tact. I knew I just needed that start. I needed the spark that was ultimately going to get me through that door. So I did it with Lego. He's actually wearing the same clothes as me. I didn't even do that intentionally. Brilliant. So, with my last £50 in the bank, I bought a Lego set. I packaged it up, and I stuck a QR code on it that said, build something and send me back a picture. I did a freedom of information request into the NHS. I found an NHS trust, found key decision makers that I'd want to talk to, and I sent them this Lego set. Recorded delivery, so I knew they had to open it. Within 7 days, I had 500 images inside my WhatsApp. And that led to me being offered a £3 million contract to serve the NHS. You cheer, but here's the thing. I know nothing about well-being. I am not qualified to teach them anything. I can help them take a selfie. So I turned it down. I know, my wife had the exact same stunned silence as you have. I realized at that moment what I actually really enjoyed was the chase. I enjoyed getting in there. I enjoyed having those conversations. I enjoyed getting into places that people told me, you can't get in there. How many times has anyone told you, no, you can't sell to those people? Corporates, right? Can't sell to corporates. Can't get into the NHS. NHS don't listen to you. Can't get to key decision makers in the NHS. Schools. Can't speak to head teachers. It's bollocks. Just need the right way of doing it. The right way of starting that conversation. So that's where the business was founded. And we then started to introduce automation into it so that we could make it much more seamless. As a result, I've managed to now start coaching my daughter's football team. The reason I show you this, so by the way, these girls, incredible bunch of girls. If you're ever going to learn anything about resilience, this is where you learn it. The picture that I've got here was just after the girls won the cup final, having gone to penalties. If you think it's horrible watching England take penalties, imagine watching a group of 11-year-olds trying to take penalties. And they won it. They won the cup. They won the league. They got promoted. And I now coach my son's football team as well. But the reason I show you this is, whilst this match was going on, I closed a £10,000 sale in my WhatsApp without touching it. Without losing the personal touch. And now, I'm being invited to speak on stages all over Europe to talk exactly on this topic, to teach people how to be more conversational in a platform that we already know, like, and trust that gets us insane results. So why WhatsApp? Why is WhatsApp the platform that I think you should all use? Right now, we are in an endless fight to be seen and heard. I saw someone I listened to a podcast recently, and they were talking about how the social media is just turning into endless AI sludge. We've gone from carefully crafting 1 or 2 posts a week to posting every day to now posting 10 times a day and using AI to do it. We sit on social media and always thinking, is this real? Is this not real? There's no authenticity behind it. And if you think about social media, you don't own your own leads when you're on socials. The platforms control your visibility. They decide whether your posts are seen or not. There was a stat published just last week by LinkedIn that said that they show your content to 12% of your audience. 12%. Instagram show your content to 4% of your audience. So you imagine all that time you spend building these social profiles for people to not see them, not see your content, not hear your voice. Certain content gets penalized. What is it today? Are we allowed to post links today? Are we allowed to post videos? Are we allowed to comment? Are we allowed to at people? We don't know. And ultimately, big ad spend is what wins on socials. So if you're investing in ads, if you're investing in the social platform, they're going to reward you. But organic is dying. It's just not working as well as it used to do. And then there's email. Nick touched on this before. Average email open rate around 18 to 25%. If you get anything around 40 to 50%, you're doing an amazing job. But imagine if I'm in this room and only half of you can hear. I'm not going to be happy as a speaker. But yet we seem to settle for these poor email open rates and think that that's how it is. We just need to have more people. So the way we connect, the way we communicate has changed dramatically in the last 6 months. As Nick touched on in his keynote, we are now spending more time communicating in messenger apps than anywhere else. And WhatsApp is the #1 platform that people are using to speak, to have, build relationships, build that connection with people. If you like data, here's some data. I'm not going to go through it. If you scanned the QR code right at the very beginning, by the way, you will have already been given a copy of the slides. So feel free to go through and read this. How many of you are now gutted that you did not scan that QR code right at the very beginning? Don't worry, there's another chance. But this is the one I want to point out to you. 79% of British adults say they rely on WhatsApp every single week. Think of that word, rely. What they're saying is, if WhatsApp disappeared overnight, their life is going to change. Now, if I think about this with my football teams, for example, we have our team chats. What happens if WhatsApp goes tomorrow? How do I communicate with those people? God forbid I've got to actually speak to them face to face. Nobody wants that. Or do I email them? Do we create a Facebook group? So if your ideal clients are on WhatsApp, if they rely on WhatsApp, if that's where they're communicating, surely you should meet them where they are. So what does this mean to you? Shall we look at some numbers? So let's say you have an email list of 1,500 people. So we're going to do a broadcast out to your email list. Let's say 80% of those emails are going to get delivered into the main inbox. So 20% are going into spam, going into promotions, not even getting through. Of those, 35% get opened. So I'm going on the upper end here of an open rate. So already we've gone from 1,500 emails down to 420 actually getting seen. And then the average click-through is 10%. 42 clicks out of 1,500 emails. Let's look at WhatsApp, shall we? So let's say we take the same numbers, we do 1,500 WhatsApps. 95% on average get delivered. Usually the reason a WhatsApp doesn't get delivered is because somebody gives you the wrong number, or they give you a landline number, or they're in a country where WhatsApp isn't used in the same way. The average open rate of a WhatsApp is 85%. So already look at that, 420 over email, 1,250 inside WhatsApp. And then the average click-through of WhatsApp is 50%. So from 42 on email to 625 in WhatsApp. Turn that into sales. If 5% of those people become a sale, that's 2 sales over email. It's 31 over WhatsApp. How many of you are thinking you need to start using WhatsApp a little bit more? Not as many as I would have expected. That's good though, because the rest of you, your businesses can fail. We'll all take all the rest of the money. So what's the secret to making WhatsApp work for you? It's to run WhatsApp list campaigns. That's what I'm specifically going to talk to you about today. But we need to make sure that we are doing this in a really authentic way that actually works. Now, as you saw from the very beginning, from the DMs that I sent out, I am an expert when it comes to talking to strangers online. Just ask my daughter. So my daughter had a careers day at school recently, and the teacher said, "Millie, your dad's a pilot, isn't he?" And she said, "No, he's not." And the teacher was like, "Okay, so what does he do?" So he just sits at home all day talking to women on the internet. She's not wrong. So let's talk about WhatsApp list campaigns. We've got to build the list first before we can actually start to speak to people. And the one thing that WhatsApp do not like is spam. You will get your account shut down so unbelievably fast if you start spamming people, and you will never get it back. So we've got to make sure that when we're actually speaking to people, that they actually want to hear from us. But as you've already seen from the data I gave you, you actually need a lot less in WhatsApp to make it work. So step number 1, that's a 2. 1, my fingers are not working, is to create the entry point where we get people to come into our WhatsApp, we collect their data so that we can start having a conversation. Remember that QR code right at the very beginning? Hello, welcome to my WhatsApp. These can go everywhere, okay? So don't scan this one, it doesn't work anymore. But this is just an example. This was, for quite a long time, this was my social media banners. I ran all my lead magnets in through WhatsApp so that we could start that conversation immediately. This is the International School of Bremen, one of our clients, on their website. They've got a WhatsApp bot on the bottom. Now, people always say to me, but why is that different to any other bots? Why is it different to AI? Well, the main difference is you start that on your computer, you finish it here. So when you're sat on the sofa on a night, in your pants, eating ham out of the packet, just me, you can be messaging. You're all going to have that image now if I reply to you. When I'm messaging you on Monday, you're going to be like, I wonder what he's doing. Don't ask me for a picture. Send you a selfie. So the way this works as well is we want to make sure that we're giving them the information they want in a timely manner as well. Which brings me on to step 2. Step 2 of this process is to make sure that when somebody inquires, when somebody comes into your WhatsApp, you respond fast. Unfortunately, we live in a world now where you no longer have to be the best. You just have to be the fastest. It's awful that that's the way business is done right now. But buying decisions has changed. We now browse online and we reach out to somebody once we've made the buying decision. So when somebody's already made a decision to work with you or that they want the product, services, solution that you offer, if you can't respond to them fast, they are moving on. Have a think about any time you've bought something. If the people that you are trying to get in touch with don't respond to you, where are you going? There's an analogy I used last year when I was on stage, and it was of a shoe shop. I want you to imagine that you need a new pair of shoes before you go and hit Nick's bar tab tonight. So you go out, you go to the shoe shop, you find a pair of shoes that you really like, but they're not the right size. So you need to try them on. So what's the first thing you do? Find somebody? Gonna go find somebody to ask them to give you the shoes. What do you do if there's nobody there? Walk out. Your online presence is exactly the same. If I land on your website and I need information, if I cannot find that information fast, I'm going. And especially now with AI platforms like ChatGPT, we go on chat and we ask it, right? ChatGPT gives us the answer way, way faster. So if I come onto your website and I see a WhatsApp chatbot, it's something immediately that's familiar to me. I'm going to click it, I'm going to interact with it, I'm going to talk to it. If you cannot respond fast, I'm gone, I'm out. Here's a statistic from Harvard Business Review. If you can respond within 1 hour of a lead coming into your CRM, you are 7 times more likely to turn them into a sale. How many of you believe you could follow up within an hour? Yeah? Probably 10% of you. Well, you're going to love the next one. So if you can follow up within 5 minutes, you are 100 times more likely to turn that person into a sale. Attention spans are dropping. We're a bingeable society. So we want to have a meaningful connection immediately. So the International School of Bremen that I showed you right at the very beginning, if you go on their web bot and you immediately scan it, the first thing that happens is a video pops up from the head teacher that says, hey, thank you so much for inquiring about the school. We're going to ask you a couple of questions now to figure out the best way we can point you. And then a pop-up appears and it says, which area of the school are you most interested in? So we're using those questions to qualify them, to segment them, to find out who they are. But at the same time, we're allowing them to choose the journey they want to go on so that we can start a more meaningful conversation delivering the content they want. We don't want to search for information. There's nothing worse, right? Than going on a website and being like, that is a lot of information. I'm out. So once we've done that, once we've delivered the information that they ultimately have come to us for, we're going to start a conversation with them. We want to actually start speaking to people. And you can use automation for this. You can start the conversation with automation and then ultimately transition it to a person. When I was learning to fly, I had to fly 500 hours before I was allowed to use any automation. And I encourage a lot of my clients to do the same thing. Make sure you can do the task before you start automating it. Because ultimately, if something goes wrong and you don't know what you're doing, you're stuck. And this is why those conversations are really important right now. Proximity. Nick talked about getting people in the room. If you can't get them in the room, WhatsApp is the closest thing where you can feel like you're speaking to a real person. That proximity piece, can I feel like I'm speaking to a real person? If you send me a video, I know that's you. I can see the surroundings, I can read the context into it. Again, Bremen, the school, you can see the school behind. You can see the environment. You can see the kids are in the background, they're happy, they're enjoying their time at the school. And then time spent. Do you actually want to spend time with me? If you feel like somebody wants to actually invest in you, they want to spend time getting to know you and talking to you, not AI, an actual person getting to know you, you are way more likely to buy from them. So, proximity times time spent equals money invested. And this is something we see across the board with all of our clients. If you take anything away from listening to me today, please make it this. Connection is ultimately what turns attention into action. If you miss that connection piece, you're screwed. And the more and more, with more AI flooding social media, flooding our emails, this is going to be the thing that's really important. This is going to be the difference between your next 6 figures or not. And then step 4 is to give them a logical next step. Don't just leave them hanging. Where are they going next? What do they want from you? How can we move them along that journey? So this is what a typical WhatsApp flow would look like for us if we were building it. We start with that trigger point where we're going to get them into our WhatsApp. We're going to start talking to them. We're going to position ourselves as something VIP, something that they really want. And whilst doing that, that's going to create safety. We're then going to start to ask them questions. But we use the questions strategically to segment them. And then, at the same time, we're building connection. And then finally, we encourage them to take some form of action by making them an offer. That could be to book a call. That could be to download something. It could even be to buy something. But we want to make sure that we're being really intentional, really strategic, and that every single thing we do in this platform that people already know, like, and trust is guiding them on this journey. So if we're just hitting them with message after message after message after message, going, buy from me, buy from me, buy from me, buy from me, guess what they're going to do? Block. And we see this time and time again. People are always coming to us going, my WhatsApp's been blocked. This isn't working. I'm not getting the results. If you really, really, really want to see this in action, one of my clients, Lisa Johnson, is speaking tomorrow. You are going to see this well and truly in action. So please do go in, interact with it. You'll see exactly how this works in real life. So I've talked through this. I've given you the exact blueprint you need. I created the trigger point right at the very beginning. I told you I was going to talk you through this and it was going to make sense. We had the trigger point right at the very beginning. You came into my WhatsApp. I talked to you about why I am the expert on WhatsApp, why I think you should listen to me. I created safety. I positioned. I've asked you questions. Now it's time to encourage action. Scan the QR code. Send me the word connect, because I want you to see this in action. You're going to be able to see a demo of how we use WhatsApp. You can connect with me on socials, and it'll also tell you how you could work with us as well. But please do give this a go. WhatsApp is the best platform right now for speaking to people. So please do start using it. I've got one last thing to share with you before I leave. So my son, Oliver, he's 8. He's fascinated with me going away all the time and speaking on stage. And he was going through my slides the other day. And he was like, how does this work? What does this do? I'm starting to think, like, what's the legal age I can actually start employing him and getting him building this? I'm sure I can say 9. I could do it next year. One thing he said to me was, what happens at the end? I said, well, I'll finish. I'll put the QR code up. Everyone will scan it. Then they'll come and talk to me on my stand. I said, but the most important thing is they're all going to get up on their feet and they're going to cheer. So it's not for me. No. There's an 8-year-old who's going to watch this back on camera. Don't let him think his dad's a liar. Expert Empires, you've been fantastic. I've been Paul Green. Thank you very much.